Let me show you guys my post-Age of Overlord Labrynth build. There's not just a ton of videos out there on this. There's some, but not a ton. And I think mine's a little bit different than some of the others. We're going to do the extra deck last. I'm going to set that up here. And let me go through this first. So the new guy, Arias, or new gal, Arias the Labrynth Butler, at 3, this card is... it's crazy. It allows you to play on your opponent's turn more. Effect in a nutshell is if you have this in hand and a trap, whether it's one of your welcome traps or just another trap, you can set it and activate it the turn you set it. So that really helps, you know, if you need to Daruma cannon somebody, or I don't want to get too far ahead of myself until I show you the rest of it. And this isn't really a combo video, but this card is critical. If it's there, you might as well use it. Two lady, you might say, you might need 3, but typically you're not going to go into 3 ladies. If you've been watching Labrynth for a while, you pretty much know what this does. You have to have it, but it's not, you know, it's not something that you need 3 of, but you could. Then the one lovely, this card's a brick in the hand. It's a goat on the field. You get it out, I mean, this card is the MVP. 3 Arion, you gotta be able to search. You gotta get your plays started. You need Ariana. That's what I meant, Ariana. In this build, we're gonna play 3 clocks. Now, if you need to, keep in mind, this is a good piece to side out. But 3, it really helps because it's similar to Arias. It allows you to activate a trap that's set on the turn you set it. So it's a card you wanna see. Stovey Torby, you know, the furniture, they're pretty much self-explanatory. They set traps, they special summon, they add back to hand. I mean, they literally interact so much. With Labrynth, you're very easily going to be getting up to chain 5, chain 6, chain 7, all in one turn. I mean, it's really crazy. Gonna play the 3 Big Welcome. This is mandatory because Big Welcome can do a lot of stuff. It helps interact with the lovely. It interacts with just everything, you know. It's crazy. Plus, it gets a body on the field. It's crazy. Welcome Labrynth. It's at 3, but I can see why somebody wanted it too. But this is only like a 40 card deck. So, you know, 3 of these isn't necessarily hurting you, and you can always side one out. 1 Labrynth. That's just, you know, the field spell. It comes up a lot more now. You have so much going on, and it can be a free pop sometimes, and it just helps out a lot. As far as hand traps go, 3 Imperm. Also, this is a trap. You know, kind of fits the theme. One of the best hand traps in the game. Probably number 2. Ash. You got to play Ash. 3. Prosperity. Now, this is one that I may end up cutting. Prosperity just has a lot of cost to it, and you're not hard drawing. It's going to get ashed 90% of the time, it seems like. Extravagance is probably better than Prosperity in this deck, but at the same time, you're going to have to be running 3 Chaos Angels. We'll talk about that later. So it makes it like one of the most expensive decks ever. Luckily, this card, you know, has gotten reprinted a lot, so this card's cheap now. But it's still just not the... it's hard to say. Prosperity and Extravagance, I kind of go back and forth on them. In this deck, I think this one works better overall if you don't want to have like a super expensive extra deck. I've seen some Nadir Servant stuff going on with this. I think that might be a better route to go, but then that engine is... I've already, you'll see in a minute, I'm already running 1 Dogmatic Punishment. But that engine, that's like a 6 card engine. You know, this is only 3 cards. So it's kind of like, what are you giving up by doing that? I don't really know. 1 called by, you want your plays to go through. Too bad this is at 1. It's like one of those cards, your opponent always sees it, you never see it. 2 Daruma cannons. As far as the traps go, these are interchangeable. You're going to want your side deck to be mostly traps, mostly other hand traps. And but most of the time, you know, blind games, Daruma Cannon, you know, that's great against Pearly. It's really, it's great against a lot of the stuff right now. Dimensional Barrier, another one. You know, you're talking about Pearly, heavy combo decks. You can pretty much tell by somebody's first card what they're going to be playing. And then Dogmatic of Punishment. As long as you have the targets in the extra deck, this card can be a double pop. So yeah, I mean, this one, I would want this at 2, but something's going to have to go. Maybe one of the welcomes, because I think I will switch this to the Nadir package. For the extra deck, I'm missing a couple. I got them in one of my other decks. Chaos Angel at 1, but these are the mandatory. I mean, actually, Chaos Angel is at 3. At 2, I'm sorry. I can't get it together. Okay, 2 Chaos Angels, simply because I don't have 3. I'm not going to spend $250 on 3 Chaos Angels. That's crazy. Dogmatica target, Intis, Link Haribo, that comes up. Relinquish Anima in case somebody makes that fatal mistake, which, believe me, it can happen. It can happen. There's 2 Typhons in this deck, and that's just because the extra deck is kind of up in the air on this, but, you know, sometimes this comes up. I just had 2, and I just put them in there. I didn't really have anything else to put in there. 1 Little Knight, mandatory. Normally, this would be 3 Muckrakers, but I have it in an Unchained deck. I have the other one in an Unchained deck. So, Muckraker, that card can do some crazy stuff. And IP, you want IP to bait the SP. And the Dingrisu, this card, you're not going to make it a lot, but every now and then it's something you can do. Appaloosa, you know, when you get a bunch of furniture on the board, bunch of other monsters, sometimes you can go into this. That's just something I threw in there. This deck doesn't necessarily have to go in the extra deck a lot. Typically, your main play is going to be either this or this or this. I mean, these are going to be your MVPs, and you're going to go into this a good bit. They all kind of go hand in hand. One good thing about this guy is he's a fiend, so it kind of helps a little bit with the Muckrakers and all that. But anyway, like I said, this isn't going to be a combo video or anything. This is just a simple rundown. Now, as far as things that I would change right off, if I could change anything about this deck, I'd say the Prosperities for the Nadir. I think that's a little bit better because, like I said, the extra deck's not critical. Wouldn't change the hand traps. I mean, Imperm, Ash. The field spell, you know, if you had to cut it, like side it out, you could. But I still think it's a really good thing to have. Welcome Labrynth. Maybe go down to 2 on that one. But, you know, you want to see it. I mean, you do want to see it. So, it's hard to say on that. Coup Clock technically could be at 1. But I'm a believer in, like, if you're going to play something, if you want to see it, then you need to play, you know, 2 or 3 of them. The problem with just playing 1 is you may never see it. So what's the point of having it? There's not one. 3 Ariana, of course. Lovely. Lady Labrynth. Now, I will say one thing that does suck about playing one of these, but you just cannot play multiple, is if this card gets banished, you are screwed. I mean, not necessarily screwed, but it really sucks when this card gets banished. But it also sucks when you draw this card. So it's kind of the price you have to pay. Lady Labrynth, maybe could run 3. But for the sake of this card, you want it at 3 because it's another one. Like, if you want to see this card, you need to play 3. And right now, you can do that. And it lets you play on your opponent's turn. You know, it's really nothing for you to be able to, you know, set this on your opponent's turn and be able to activate it, pop 2 on their first turn, or, you know, they're going into Pearly, activate this. I mean, there's just there's just so much. There's just so much stuff that you can do with this deck. The problem with this deck, if there is a problem with it, I think it does take a big brain. It's a big brain deck. And it's not really fun. Like, there's a lot going on, but somehow it's not that fun. And it may just be because I'm not the best at it. It's just, to me, it's not fun. There's so much going on. You have to remember all these grave effects. I mean, and all these interactions, you know, when this pops, when this leaves the field, there's just, you're like chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then your opponent's 8, 9. You know, it can get really, really kind of overwhelming, to be honest with you. And for all of that, with an as expensive as this deck is, I mean, I don't know if that's the choice I would make. You know, if I was getting into, you know, about to build a meta deck, I mean, I feel like maybe Unchained's a better option. There's just so many options out there that I think are better. Like I said, I don't find myself playing this, and I definitely won't. I don't think I'll ever find myself playing this at a major tournament when there's other stuff. You know, when there's other stuff I can play instead. So, but at the end of the day, I mean, it is a really good deck. I mean, most people will say it's tier 1. Not quite to the level of Rescue Ace or Tearlaments or Pearly, but it can compete with all those decks. And it's going to be all about what you draw, as with any duel, what you draw, and of course the player. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'm just rambling at this point, but anyway, that's the Labrynth deck profile. Thanks for watching.